The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn gleamed under the sodium lamps like veins pulsing with the city's restless heart. And in that downpour, I watched Jordan shatter everything with 6 words that echoed louder than the thunder. "Alex, us, it's impossible. We can't." His voice cracked like the lightning splitting the sky, but even as he turned away, his hand lingered on my arm just a second too long, betraying the lie he was forcing down our throats. I stood there, soaked to the bone, wondering how a man who claimed to want nothing could know the exact rhythm of my heartbeat. It started 6 months earlier, in the haze of a late summer heat wave that made New York feel like a pressure cooker ready to blow. I was 24, fresh out of NYU with a film studies degree gathering dust while I scraped by as a barista in a hipster coffee shop in Williamsburg. The place was called Brewed Awakening. Ironic, given how it kept me up at night with double shifts and dreams of directing something real, something that captured the raw ache of being young and queer in a world that still whispered freak behind polite smiles. My best friend Mia, a fierce lesbian with a buzz cut and a tattoo of Frida Kahlo on her bicep, called it my starving artist phase, but she was one to talk. She was juggling law school and a string of bad dates with women who ghosted her faster than you could say internalized misogyny. We met Jordan at a queer open mic night in Bushwick, the kind of event where vulnerability hung in the air like cigarette smoke. Mia dragged me there after I spent the weekend binge-watching old rom-coms and ugly crying over the what-ifs of my ex, a bi guy named Tyler who decided monogamy wasn't his vibe after all. The venue was a converted warehouse with exposed brick and fairy lights strung like hopeful constellations. I was nursing a gin and tonic, sketching doodles of the performers in my notebook, when Jordan took the stage. He was all sharp angles and quiet intensity, tall, with olive skin, curly black hair that fell just so over his forehead, and eyes like polished obsidian that seemed to see straight through the bullshit. He read a poem about fractured identities, the pull between who you are and who your immigrant parents expect you to be. His voice was low, gravelly, wrapping around words like exile and yearning until the room held its collective breath. When he finished, the applause was thunderous, and Mia elbowed me hard. "Go talk to him, dummy. That's your type written in neon." I rolled my eyes, but my feet moved anyway. Up close, he smelled like sandalwood and fresh laundry, and his handshake was firm but warm. "That was incredible," I said, fumbling for eloquence. "The line about carrying ghosts in your pockets. I felt that." He smiled, a small, crooked thing that lit up his face. "Alex, right? I saw your sketch from across the room. You've got an eye for the hidden stuff." We talked until the bar closed, about everything and nothing. His graphic design gig that paid the bills but starved the soul, my half-baked screenplay about a ghost who haunts his own regrets, the way both our families back in the Midwest pretended queerness was a phase you outgrew like training wheels. By the end of the night, we'd exchanged numbers, and Mia declared it fate over greasy diner fries at 2 a.m. He's got that brooding artist energy, but with actual depth. Don't screw it up. I didn't plan to. Our first date was a picnic in Prospect Park because Jordan insisted on something normal, away from the city's grind. He showed up with a wicker basket he'd borrowed from his roommate. Cheese, grapes, that cheap sparkling wine that tastes like bubbles and possibility. We sprawled on a blanket under an oak tree, the sun filtering through leaves like spotlights on a set. He confessed he'd grown up in a strict Syrian-American family in Detroit, where his dad ran a corner store and his mom baked baklava that could mend broken hearts. "They love me," he said, plucking at a blade of grass, "but they pray every night that I'll find the right girl. It's like I'm the family secret they keep hoping will evaporate." I shared my own scars, coming out in high school to parents who hugged me tight, but then sent me to conversion therapy pamphlets, just in case. We laughed about the absurdity, but underneath it was that shared ache, the one that makes you cling to anyone who gets it. From there, it snowballed into something electric. Late-night texts that turned into voice memos of him humming my favorite Phoebe Bridgers songs. Walks along the East River where he'd point out constellations and weave stories about them being queer rebels in the sky. He learned my coffee order without asking, black with a cinnamon dusting, because it reminded me of autumn leaves back home. And I memorized the way his laugh rumbled like distant thunder, how he'd bite his lip when he was deep in thought. Our friends folded us in seamlessly. Mia adored him, dubbing him Poet Boy, and his best friend, Leo, a non-binary photographer with neon blue hair and a penchant for dramatic monologues, teased me relentlessly about finally having a glow-up boyfriend. We were a mismatched crew, Mia with her activist fire, Leo with their lens capturing the unseen, Jordan's quiet wisdom, and me, the dreamer piecing it all into narratives. But cracks formed early, subtle as hairline fractures in glass. Jordan would pull back after nights when we'd lose ourselves in each other's arms on his fire escape, staring at the stars until dawn. "This is good," he'd murmur, but his eyes would dart away, like he was mapping an escape route. Once, after a family call, he canceled our plans last minute, claiming a deadline. I found out later from Leo that he'd spent the evening staring at a photo of his sister's wedding, the one where everyone looked perfect except for the hollow in his chest. "He's scared, Alex," Leo told me over beers at a dive bar. "Family's everything to him. You're the first guy he's let in this deep since college." I nodded, pretending it didn't sting, because love, real love, means holding space for the mess. The first real fight hit like a freight train during Pride Month, of all times. We were at the parade, rainbow flags whipping in the wind, bass from floats thumping through our bones. Mia and Leo were ahead, chanting and dancing, while Jordan and I lagged behind, hands brushing in that secret way that felt like defiance. Then his phone buzzed, his mom, FaceTiming from Detroit. He answered, and I watched his face shudder as she gushed about a cousin's engagement. "When are you settling down, Habibi? We want grandkids someday." The call ended, and he went still, the joy draining from him like air from a punctured tire. "I can't do this," he said, voice barely above the crowd's roar. The lies, the pretending. What if I break them? I reached for him, but he stepped back. "It's not you, Alex. It's everything." We didn't speak for 3 days after that, the silence heavier than any argument. When we reconciled, it was over falafel wraps on a stoop, him apologizing with that crooked smile. "I memorized your shift schedule this week. Figured I'd surprise you with dinner after." My heart flipped. How did he know I ended at 7 on Tuesdays? But it was the little things that wove us tighter. Playlists curated to my moods. Notes slipped into my bag, quoting lines from my favorite books. He said we were impossible only once before that rainy night, after a dinner with his extended family visiting from Jersey. They were warm, boisterous, piling plates with tabbouleh and stories of the old country. But the undercurrent was there. The sidelong glances when I mentioned my roommate instead of boyfriend. The aunt who patted his knee and whispered about good Muslim girls. Driving home, his knuckles white on the wheel, he exploded. "See? That's my life, Alex. They tolerate me because I'm their golden boy, but you? They'd disown me in a heartbeat." I argued, fierce and foolish, that love could bridge it. We could show them. He laughed, bitter. "You don't get it. Some bridges burn before they're built." But even then, as he dropped me off, he texted the lyrics to Motion Sickness by Phoebe, our song, knowing it was the one that steadied me. Summer bled into fall, leaves turning the parks into fire-kissed canvases, and our rhythm held, fragile but fierce. Mia started dating a trans woman named Riley, a barista from my shop with a laugh like wind chimes and opinions sharper than Mia's wit. They were chaos in the best way, protests by day, poetry slams by night, and it inspired me to pitch my screenplay to a small indie producer downtown. Jordan came to the meeting, waiting in the lobby with coffee and that proud tilt to his chin. "You've got this," he whispered before I went in. I didn't land the gig, but the feedback lit a spark. Authentic voice. Lean into the emotional core. That night, we celebrated anyway, rooftop barbecue with Leo snapping candids, Mia toasting to "fuck the gatekeepers." Jordan pulled me aside, his breath warm against my ear. "I'm proud of you. Always." In that moment, with the city sprawl below us like a promise, I believed we could outrun the shadows. But misunderstandings fester like untreated wounds. It started with a party at Leo's loft in Greenpoint, a fundraiser for a queer youth shelter that drew artists, activists, and a few too many bottles of rose. Jordan was magnetic that night, charming donors with his easy grace, but I caught him deep in conversation with an ex, a tall, willowy guy named Ethan, all cheekbones and shared history from design school. They hugged too long, laughed at inside jokes I wasn't part of, and jealousy coiled in my gut like smoke. By midnight, I was tipsy and accusatory, cornering him in the kitchen. What's with the reunion tour? If you want him back, just say it. His face hardened, the hurt flashing before anger took over. Ethan's a friend, Alex. Unlike you, I don't collect exes like trophies. The words landed like slaps. We both knew he meant Tyler, the bi ghost who'd left me questioning my worth. I stormed out, hailing a cab in the chill October air, tears blurring the taillights. He called the next morning, voice raw. I overstepped. But you have to trust me. I did, mostly, because forgiveness is the glue in queer love, stitched from too many scars. We patched it with a weekend getaway to the Catskills, courtesy of Leo's borrowed cabin. No signal, just us, hiking trails that wound through fog-shrouded pines, cooking esmores over a fire pit, while sharing secrets we'd buried deep. He admitted Ethan's chapter closed because it was safe. Two guys from similar worlds, no family fallout. With you, he said, tracing patterns in the ash. It's real. Terrifying, but real. I confessed my fear of being the phase, the one who makes them question everything only to walk away. Under the stars, wrapped in wool blankets, we promised to fight smarter, love louder. Yet prejudices aren't just personal, they're societal shrapnel. At work, a regular customer, an older white guy with a MAGA sticker on his truck, overheard me on the phone with Jordan, cooing about our plans. The next day, he cornered me at the counter. You boys think this lifestyle's normal? It's a choice, son. Repent before it's too late. His words slithered under my skin, echoing the pamphlets from my youth. I froze, hands shaking as I handed over his latte, until Mia overheard and unloaded. Eloquent fury about consent, identity, the hypocrisy of love thy neighbor while hating who they love. She got us banned from serving him, a small victory that felt like armor. Jordan held me that night, his silence a balm. They're dinosaurs, he murmured. We evolve. But I saw the flicker, how every barb chipped at his resolve, reminding him of the chasm between his worlds. As Thanksgiving loomed, tensions peaked. Jordan's family invited him home, the expectation unspoken, bring a friend, play straight. He agonized for weeks, pacing his tiny apartment, playlists on loop. My favorites, of course, because even in crisis, he anchored to me. Come with me, I begged one night, curled on his couch amid takeout containers. As my partner. Show them. He shook his head, eyes haunted. You'd be the villain in their story. I can't do that to you. Or them. Mia and Leo weighed an overgroup brunch at a soul food spot in Bed-Stuy, plates piled with collards and cornbread. It's internalized bullshit, Mia snapped, waving her fork. You're letting them puppeteer your happiness. Leo, softer, added, boundaries, babe. But don't let fear write the ending. Jordan listened, but the decision stuck. Solo trip, lies intact. He left on a Greyhound at dawn, kissing me goodbye with a desperation that should have warned me. I'll call every night. The days blurred, shifts at the shop, script revisions fueled by black coffee, hangouts with Mia and Riley that devolved into dissecting holiday horrors. Riley shared her transition story over wine, the family rejection that mirrored Jordan's dread, and it hit me. We were all exiles in our own homes, building chosen families from the rubble. But the calls came sporadic, his voice strained against engine hums or static. Mom's asking questions. I dodged. By Wednesday, silence. I texted, spiraled, imagined the worst. Him caving, introducing a fictional fiancé. The rain started that Thursday, a biblical deluge that flooded subways and canceled plans. Mia crashed at my place, binging bad TV and bad decisions. Ice cream straight from the tub, rants about capitalist holidays masking bigotry. He's coming back, she assured, but doubt not. Then, at 11 p.m., the buzzer. I opened the door to Jordan, drenched, duffel slung over his shoulder, eyes red-rimmed. I couldn't do it, he choked out, collapsing into my arms. Told them everything on the drive home. Dad hung up. Mom cried. But fuck, Alex, it felt like breathing for the first time. We sank to the floor, his sobs shaking us both, my shirt soaking up the storm outside and in. In that raw unraveling, I saw the man I'd fallen for, brave, broken, blooming. Rebuilding wasn't linear. His family went radio silent, a void that echoed in voicemails left unreturned and holidays skipped. Jordan threw himself into work, designing posters for queer events that screamed visibility, while I landed a freelance gig editing shorts for a YouTube channel. Small steps, but ours. Mia and Riley's relationship hit turbulence when Riley's ex outed her at a family dinner, sparking a chain of solidarity sleepovers where we swapped war stories like trading cards. Leo captured it all in a photo series, Fractured Lights, exhibited in a tiny gallery in Chelsea. Us four, posed in vulnerability, Jordan's hand and mine the centerpiece. The opening night was magic. Wine flowing, strangers murmuring approval, a drag queen MC toasting to love that defies deletion. But surprises lurk in quiet corners. One crisp December morning, as snow dusted the bridges like powdered sugar, Jordan woke me with breakfast in bed, pancakes shaped like film reels, a nod to my dreams. Got an email, he said, grin splitting wide. That producer you pitched to? They want a meeting, for both of us. Your script, my visuals. Elation surged, but so did fear. What if it pulled us apart, success a new wedge? We prepped together, nights blurring into strategy sessions laced with stolen kisses, his steady presence my North Star. The meeting was in Midtown, glass towers reflecting a city reborn in winter white. We pitched Echoes Unseen, a tale of queer ghosts haunting modern lovers, and they bought it, greenlit for a short film festival. Champagne toasts followed, Leo and Mia crashing the after-party at a speakeasy in the village, toasting with shots of something amber and fierce. To us, Jordan said, clinking glasses, his eyes locking on mine with that obsidian depth. The impossible made real. Yet climax brewed in the unlikeliest storm. Valentine's approached, and Jordan planned a surprise. Tickets to a Phoebe Bridgers concert at Terminal 5, front row, because he'd clocked every lyric I'd hummed in the shower. But en route, his phone lit up. His dad, after months of frost. Come home. We talk. The plea hung, a tether to the past. At the venue, amid pulsing lights and opening chords, he froze during the first song. I have to go, he whispered over the swell. Not forever. Just. Face it. Heart hammering. I nodded, masking the panic. Go. I'll be here. He vanished into the night, and I wandered the afterglow alone, Mia's texts lighting my screen. Where's Poet Boy? You okay? The set ended, confetti raining like misplaced joy, and I cabbed home to silence. Days stretched, radio quiet, my inbox dry except for festival deadlines. Mia rallied the troops, stakeout at his apartment, Leo with camera in tow for documentation. We found it empty, mail piling, a neighbor muttering about a sudden trip. Panic Claude, accident, relapse. Then, a postcard from Detroit, his scrawl. Facing ghosts. Memorized your lyrics for the road. Back soon. Love, Jay. The wait was agony, filled with what-ifs and Mia's tough love. He chose you once. Trust he'll choose again. Riley shared grounding techniques. Breaths counted like heartbeats. On day 7, the door flew open at 3 a.m. Jordan, hollow-cheeked but alight, clutching a worn journal. They listened, he gasped, pulling me close. Not perfect. Tears, arguments, my aunt calling it a Western sickness. But Dad hugged me at the end. Said he loves me, period. Relief crashed, mingled with fury. You scared me shitless. He winced, but held tighter. Had to end the hiding. For us. From ashes, renewal. The film premiered at Tribeca, a whirlwind of red carpet nerves and standing ovations. Critics called it a poignant gut punch, and offers trickled. Pilots, collapse. Our circle expanded, but core held. Mia and Riley's engagement party in spring, Leo's book deal for the series. Jordan's family thawed slow. Thanksgiving calls, a tentative visit where his mom baked baklava and asked halting questions about your friend Alex. Progress, not perfection. 1 year on, under those same Prospect Park oaks, Jordan knelt, not with rings, but a playlist etched on vinyl, my favorites scratched in loving detail. We happened, he said, voice steady as the roots beneath us. Against odds, through storms. Marry me. Laughter bubbled, tears hot. Yes, 1,000 times. In the end, love isn't the absence of conflict. It's the choice to dance in the downpour, memorizing each other's steps. And ours? It's the song that plays on, defiant and true.